I do want to actually say, hello to everybody and welcome, whether it's good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you may be. And I really just want to extend something to start with before we welcome Nannette into this call today, is that I'm very, very grateful for all the support that you give us for these calls, because it takes a bit of effort to get them together. But I know not everybody can always make it. But the great thing about having them recorded is that we can share them, and the power of what that gives to people to be able to send out there is invaluable. So whilst we may not get huge numbers on here, I know that the feedback that's coming back from them, it's worth it. So I thank each and every one of you for constantly coming on here, but every time we do get a guest on here, like Nannette today, it's just a gift to have you on here, and we're very grateful for that. And then, of course, we've got Dr. Ron and Dr. Ken, so they always bring something very amazing every month too with what their knowledge is. So I do welcome you, Nannette, and I did put something together, and I hope that I didn't embarrass you when I did put this up on there, because for me, when I looked through your biography and had a little bit of a troll through your background in regards to finding out a little bit more about you, because you weren't forthcoming, you're a little bit shy. So, and I expected that of you, but from what I've known of you since I've met you is that you are one of the most selfless people I think that I have come across. You're very giving, you're very kind, but the one thing that stood right through with you is that you are one hell of a powerhouse of a woman. You're what I like to call a BP achiever. Like, you are a quiet achiever, but when you achieve, it is with a sudden impact, and people know that you've been there and you are full of intent. And that for me is just something that's so inspiring. Like, you are so switched on for business, but yet you've still got that delicacy of sincerity and honesty and integrity that really shines through as traits for you that I can only aspire to be honest, because between Jana and yourself, you are, a couple of my main mentors. I watch you very closely as to what you do, and I hope that I can reach the levels of success that you do. From reading through your and trolling through and having a look to see what you did do, it made me understand even more that you do have a degree in music, so you may go out into song if you choose, but also into communication and speech, which that for me then really resonated, and I felt, well, this is why this lady is so successful, because you have that ability to be able to converse with anybody across the board. And when you do decide to speak, everybody stops and listens. And it's a very, it's a unique talent that people have. And a lot of people don't understand this, I don't think, that when you have to present or you do need to get a message across, there is a way in that you can use your voice. There's a mannerism in the way that you can actually deliver that. And it's all tailored to the audience that you have. And every single time that I've seen you do this, this is where I find my admiration for you, because I used to teach this as well with people with our businesses. So you excel in this area, so you excite me as a person in regards to what you bring to this company for us as being a founder. And I just want to welcome you into the call. And I know that we're very excited about it. So I'd like to actually ask you if you can just tell us a little bit about you as a person, growing up and what's just leading up to where Galen was, going through your career and what you would love to share with us, because I'd like to know a little bit more about Nannette.
Well, thank you, Jackie. I'm sure my dad is cheering from heaven right now. Thank you very much. That was lovely and very gracious of you. And before I start about me, I just have to say that I would, the only thing better than one Jana would be two Janas. So if you had two Janas here for a few minutes, that was awesome. So yes, I thank you very much. And I'm more than happy and thankful for my life. And right out the gate, I have to thank everybody here for coming today. And those of you that aren't here, they're going to hear this later on. Thank you as well for taking time from your home and your families and whoever and whatever you really care about to take this time. I owe a lot to my folks. I am who I am because of who they were and how they raised the four of us in our family. I was born in a little town, Colville, Washington, which is south of Trail, BC. So no, I wasn't a born and raised Canadian. Though my grandfather was a fur trader with the Hudson Bay Company and out of Quebec. So yes, my origin does come from Canada from my father. So it's been a great joy for me to actually be both now. I'm an American and a Canadian citizen. So I hold two passports and I'm quite proud of that. My children are here with me in Canada and I've been here for over half my life. So yes, I'm definitely a grounded Canadian as well as an American citizen. So as a little girl, I grew up for the first 8 years in a very small town. We learned at a young age what stick-to-itiveness and commitment meant because we used to get up at 4:30 in the morning to catch a school bus to go 21 miles down and 21 miles back at the end of the day to go to a Catholic elementary school that my folks sent us to. And then when our little town's high school, public high school, lost its accreditation, they decided maybe we better go somewhere else. So they moved back to their home, which was 75 miles south of that town, to Spokane, Washington. And that's where I grew up the rest of my years, from the time I was 8 forward. Lots of challenges for our family. My mother had almost passed away a couple of times from hemorrhaging. She was a hemophiliac, still is today, and she's going to be 92 this month. Yeah, amazingly enough. I remember very clearly my dad took us in, dressed us all up, took us all in to say goodbye to my mother. And I think they'd done everything but stuff her with the sink in the OR to try and get her from stop bleeding. And when she saw all of us, her bleeding stopped. And she's still with us today, which is pretty amazing. So we had quite the upbringing. My father was an optometrist his whole career, so a doctor. And when we moved to Spokane, he bought a bad practice. The people in the files were deceased. So we all had to, at a very young age, go to work. All of us helping out because he couldn't afford to have anybody at the desk. So it was the first time in our lives that my mom went to work all the time as well. And my older sister, who was 4 years older than myself, that we were the first ones at that. On top of that, I started, I always sang by ear. And I hated theory, I have to tell you, I hated it because I've always played and sung by ear. But when I was 11 years old, I started doing folk mass at our church, and yeah, and then I started singing professionally. I would do up to 10 or 15 weddings a weekend in the summertime, and a lot of funerals as well. So yes, I was kind of like the priest, married and buried people, and that was okay. It worked. It was great. It was great for me as a young girl, because I learned very early on how to communicate with adults, which wasn't always the easiest. And I would sing the national anthem for many things, for baseball games. The first time I ever saw hockey, I was actually almost 18 years old because I was asked to sing national anthem. And my biggest deal was singing the national anthem for the Seattle Seahawks. First game they ever played against the Chicago Bears because they had to move it to Spokane because the Kingdom wasn't done yet, which has already been dilapidated, so you can tell how long that was. So that was exciting because it was nationally televised. So
Nannette, I'm going to pop in there and just say this, just on a quirky little note here. You know, the good thing about learning about you and the things that we haven't, there's some of that are close to you would know all of these things, but for us that love and adore you, I can't wait to get back to where I can have a drink with you, because there's things I'm going to be asking of you.
Well, well, as Jana will tell you, I'm the natural high chick because by my own choice, because I started singing in lounges and restaurants when I was 14 years old. I saw a lot, and honestly, by my own choice, I don't usually drink alcohol, but you know what? Give me a water any day and put an umbrella in it, and you would never know the difference. And I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. So yeah, it's just fact. That's just who I am. So, you know, all of my upbringing, all of my folks, how they continue to be for us in our home, supporting us. I don't know many parents who would let their 17, 18-year-old daughter travel on her own in a customized van that I bought myself to go and sing. In fact, that's how I came into Canada. My booking agents brought me into Vancouver. I sang in all the best hotels and restaurants downtown Vancouver. Yeah, and then you know what? I did buy a Canadian guy a drink one night, and then he followed me around. I ended up marrying him. So there you go. So that's how I really came to be in Canada. We didn't live our entire married life that we were together here. We actually went back to the States and we're down there, and we were in a border town, so I know the border people very well from that experience. And I spent my whole time convincing him that we needed to move back here, which is what we did.
So, Nannette, you know, the other thing I'm going to ask you too, so we can mix this up a little bit as you do talk, because I'm hoping that you're going to consider coming down to Australia, because I know that you have a team down here when we look at launching on the 2nd of February is what the proposed date is, that start learning the Australian anthem, because we might actually ask you to pop up and sing the Australian anthem for us.
Oh, I know a lot about Australia. A lot.
That's good. Well, we'll just get you Skippy along and get you up onto that stage, and we'll get you singing the Australian anthem for us at the Galen Open. That would be really awesome.
I have been there, and actually with my work. So I'm going to skip forward and tell you that my professional career is fairly vast. I have done a ton in sales, and really that started at a young age because I had to learn how to present myself to other people. And when we moved back to Canada, I wanted to find a way that I could actually work from home versus going out at horrible hours of the night in the pubs and lounges and restaurants. So that's when I did my first direct sales in home parties. And that was interesting and very educational and very successful for me. I earned many, many, many all expenses paid trips for my my husband at the time and myself all over the world. We went to France, we went to the UK twice, we went to Hawaii, and they were very generous. They were exceptional. It was a great opportunity, and I took every second of it and learned from it and grew with it from all the great people that were on my own personal team and all of the other people that I was fortunate enough and blessed to actually meet. And it was during that time, many moons ago, that I actually met Jana for the first time with one of my colleagues from one of my direct sales. And we hit it off immediately. She owned her own company at the time. We hit it off immediately, and we really became friends then through my friend, our mutual friend, and we've been friends ever since. I'm very thankful for that. I don't have, probably like most of us, I don't have that many individuals in my life that I consider very good friends. I consider Jana family for me. And it doesn't matter when somebody's considered family, it doesn't matter if you see them once a month or once a year. If you have that connection, then you have that connection. We had that connection because we actually, for between 5 and 6 years, we traveled to Seattle area every week and did a presentation to support the people in that area. We did one here every Tuesday night forever. And really I have Jana to thank a lot, because she was the wind beneath my wings when I was tapped upon after just 6 months in my company that she was involved in as well, to be a corporate trainer. So at that time, then I needed to move around a lot. And when I was not here, she was the individual that really, really took charge and carried the Tuesday night presentation at the Sheraton Hotel for all those years. And we saw anywhere from some nights on a low end 75 people, but we had as many as 200 to 300 people on those Tuesday nights. So she was my anchor at home. She really was. And she was my joy to travel with down and back, that 2-hour drive down and back every Monday night to Seattle. And I can never thank her enough for that. But that's how we got to know each other. That's how we got to love each other. And it's a great history. So you can understand where our connection comes from and why we're so close. It's more like a sister event than even just a friend. She's definitely family. She's family to my children. My daughter, who's now I shouldn't say how old, 27 years old, just had her first baby. And she remembers from when she was 4 years old calling her Jana Banana. So she is definitely still Jana Banana in our house, especially. And now that my granddaughter's here, I'm sure she's going to be Jana Banana again. But I want to delve into some strengths and things that can speak to Galen. Jana and I connected. She was at my daughter's wedding a year and a half ago, but she'd moved to the island. We really didn't have close contact at the time, but I saw a message on Facebook that was actually, I felt from Jana to her mom, and it really struck me, and so I reached out to her. And son of a gun, if that's when she had already been, this was like in mid-February of 2017. And then I asked her what, and I was right, it was about her mom, and her mom had passed, and I felt really heartbroken, really, because I knew her mom too, and loved her family, her dad and her mom. So, when that all took place, I asked her what she was doing, of course, since she was on the island, and she really did not intend to tell me. She really didn't. She knew that I was in a corporate position in that, and that's one reason I love Jana so much. She has a lot of discretion, and it's how you speak to your friends, when you speak to your friends, that really does make the difference, because I had to really pull it out of her what she was doing. And so I said, well, I would like to know. And she said, really? And I said, yes, I would. So she sent me the videos, and I have to tell you, the little clips of Dr. Rajan and Dr. Joe, their credibility, and I'm from a white-collar family. All my relatives are doctors and lawyers and pharmaceutical reps and the like, and osteopaths and chiropractors. And I said, you know what? I really want to know. So the next week we met when she was getting her card work done, and I signed up right there. My gut. I always go by my gut. I live by that. I live by that because people matter more to me. All you here on this page, even though those of you I don't know, I will tell you that those of you that are sidelined to me and Galen, which is yourself, Jackie, and Brian, and probably most of you, and Debbie too, you're more precious than gold to me. That's, I believe, where my strength lies. And it again goes back to my folks, how I was raised. It's never about me, and it's never about money for me, although I need some. We all do. Isn't that a sad deal? We all do. But people before paychecks has been my anthem from the time I was a young girl, actually. I learned when my dad almost lost his shirt in a bad practice how jaded people really can be, because at a young age I learned just because my father had DR in front of his name, they looked at us and absolutely assumed we had money because he was a doctor. And you know what? We didn't. It took every bit of us scrapping and working hard to get his practice up to snuff. And that was probably the most valuable lesson I ever had, because I learned that it's not about money. It's about your interaction with people and how you are with them. I believe that when we communicate, if we're going to be a great communicator, then we really have to learn to be a better listener to what people are sharing with us. We have to hear what they're saying. It's really hard because, like, for myself too. I mean, when I was in kindergarten, I was 5 years old, and we did Goldilocks and the Three Bears, and I was the mama bear, and I had to tell every kid on that stage their lines, because they were like shell shocked, right? Stage fright. So you know what? We have to be there for each other, but we have to listen to hear and feel what the need is, because when you begin filling a need, you will greet open minds. That's when people's minds open right up. That's why the best way to go is always to ask people questions. Always ask questions, and then stop, zipper up, so that you can actually get the answer from them, so you know what the next question should be. There's where your strength will lie. Strong questions to get really candid and heartfelt answers. Once you hear the answers, then you will have your guide on where do you go next. It doesn't matter if it's after church on Sunday if you have an affiliation. It doesn't matter if you're in the freezer compartment at Costco. It doesn't matter really where you are. It really doesn't matter. What matters that you know, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. We're supposed to use these more than this. And that's difficult. That was my greatest lesson, was really learning to be a better listener.
Nannette, can I just say this to you before you continue on? Like, one thing that's coming through really strongly for me as I do listen to you, and I've got goosebumps. I have to honestly say I've had a few little teary bits along the way with some of your story as you've been telling it. But, you know, your childhood growing up, this has all been a very big, huge part of who you are, as it is with most of us. But yours is so strong and powerful because you have such a set belief system that has been instilled in you by your family. You know, your belief in what you are doing, your belief in who you are, the belief of your soul, but the belief that you have in other people. And this is where this selflessness comes from, is because of your belief system itself is what is a very strong characteristic of you, that everything else just seems to be flowing off of that. And if I can take anything from that, self-belief, if you can't learn to understand, coming back to that why of who you are yourself, and then believing in who you are as a person, that just, it exudes out of your body, like the positivity of who you are shines out of you whether you want to or not, because you believe in what your capabilities are. And this is all unfolding and unraveling as you talk, and I understand even more because of what your background has been as a child. You're an amazing woman. Please keep going.
Well, one thing for sure, and that's again from my family, is I don't believe in ever quitting. Like I won't stop, and I'm very much a champion for people, particularly when there is a need. And that's why Galen is so important. Jana will tell you that in the company that we worked strongly together for those 6 years, that we didn't have, well, we thought we had the best product, but it wasn't very consumable. It was awesome. I still wear it all the time. It's fine jewelry. And it was awesome, but it wasn't consumable. And I am myself, and Jana knows this about me, I'm very much a product-driven individual. I am. The greatness of what Galen has brought to us, I was ecstatic. I put an email out to the people that are in my email database last night to congratulate Dr. Stefano. Like, you know, how many companies do you know that have scientists who are there with us, for us, and actually have that kind of renown? Wow, like to be nominated even for the Nobel Prizes, like so big, and for the distinction of medicine, even bigger. Like for the naysayers, like wow. I mean, I hold that up every time I can. I really thank Dr. Rajan for his efforts, his work, and his credibility and his industry and where he came from. All of those things culminate to where we are, how we are, and what we will be, because the products in themselves, what we're seeing with these products is they're definitely game changers. No matter, and all for the good, all for the good of our insides out. Like that's pretty darn amazing. I myself am shocked. I was shocked when my hair stopped falling out after 3 doses of Clamex. I've been more shocked, and thankfully Jana, with her background, had enough sense to say to me, because I wouldn't have thought to do it, make sure you take pictures, and she told me how, of my face so that you can, you know, look back and chart it. Well, I'm shocked myself at what has happened from the inside out with our products. And I'm sure it's both of them. I'm positive, because Climax only further enhances the goodness of Emulin. So between the two of them, they're powerhouses. They really are powerhouses. So I say to you, your attitude, I mean, God help me, I hope every day I start with a light inside and outside. you know, I shared this the other night on our call that, you know, when I was still at my corporate job, which I left there, it'll be a year ago on July 27th, and see, I can smile when I say that. But I have to say that Jana was huge for me when we reconnected. She killed me the first time she called me. I would be at my desk at 5 in the morning. I would leave my home at 3 just to avoid the traffic in Vancouver. And didn't leave work till between 5 and 6 every day. But she would call me at 5 o'clock the first time she did. I thought, oh my God, why, something must be wrong. She's calling me at 5 a.m. And her little, she's such a bright light for me. She said, no, I said, what are you doing calling me at this time? And she goes, no, well, I figured if you can get up and work at 5 a.m., I can too. And she called me multiple times from end of February right to when, and you know what else I'll say that I didn't say the other day? The person who had the most expression of love and concern for me at that time was Jana, for sure. Absolutely. I mean, when you have the, you know, that handshake, when they say, okay, this is it, you're done, with no warning, it's never fun. And of course, I went there to do a job that I was doing extremely well, but because they were going to close that plant down, yeah, they had to turf people. It just happens, right? So I have to thank her and her person for holding me up at a time when I really and truly needed that. And we all need that. It doesn't matter how strong we are or how weak we feel. We are only as strong as those that surround us. We really are. I'll tell you, now that my children are gone and married, for me, a challenge has been being home alone. I'm not a very good alone person. Bet you wouldn't have get that, huh? Like, yeah, I'm not a good alone person. I much prefer to be around people and with people. And I love Zoom. It's a great platform. If you haven't tapped into it yet, in all the calls and different things that are going on, I would recommend that as one of the best expenses you could invest in yourself and your business, for sure. It is amazing. And I will tell you that if you're going to be an effective communicator, this is only and humbly my opinion, but I think when you reach out and you really want to make a difference, you need to make sure that when you communicate for action or for inspiration, one of those two. People, you know, you've heard it before, but people will seldom remember what you said, but they will remember what you did. They will remember that. I know that because the second time I went to Australia, because I had the joy of opening Australia for our company as well as the UK. I was the first corporate trainer that got to go in. They liked sending me in because I was good with the regulators. I was very product oriented, right? So I did everything that I needed to do, and I always did. Jana will tell you that. I always did. But the second time I went there, I was in, customs filling out my card to go in. And I almost died. A guy and a gal come up to me and they go, and you know how you feel when you get off a plane for 14 and a half hours? Blah. Oh. They come up to me and go, oh, are you Nannette? And I just wanted to put a bag over my head. I'm going, oh my gosh, no, not really. I go, well, yeah, I guess. He goes, oh my God, they're hugging me. They remembered because they've been there. The first time I came, there were just under 3,000 people at the Sheraton in downtown Sydney. And they remembered an exercise that I did with them when I was there previously. They had to tell me how they're big. And I hear them going like, oh my God, I'm so tired and I feel like a piece of, you know what? But that is one of my best stories because it was people, because of something I did, it meant something to them. And that was so awesome. Because I'll tell you the flip side. Once when I was in Brisbane, I was all over the place in Australia. I was in Melbourne. I even know how to say the words. Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, Perth, Adelaide, Mackay, up on the Barrier Reef. I was there as well. it was such a joy. And I have to tell you, Jana knows this, I have a massively soft spot in my heart for the Aussies. I really do. I had a very small team in Australia then. I have one now, which I intend to help grow, definitely. But my people are all the people. The sideline people, we're one team. We're one voice. We're one Galen. And years ago in our other company, the one thing that hurt me most, I had a very hard pain one night when I finished in Brisbane. One of my fellow Diamond executives, which was our highest level there, got out of an elevator. I was excited to see her because she hadn't been at the presentation, but I was excited. And who were the people with me? But actually her people. They were on her team, not my team. And when she got out of the elevator, I said, hey, I really need your help. I'm so happy. I hugged her. I was so happy to see her. I really need to ask you a favor, because I had a couple of people that I knew where she was going next, and I asked her if she could do me a favor and include them when she did her next presentation. And shockingly, in front of all these people that were her own on her team, she actually said she couldn't possibly do that. Her time would not allow. And that hurt. It didn't really hurt me, but who it really made the largest sad impression on were her own people that were with me. Because when I was in Australia, I did more side presentations outside the big corporate events for sideline people. I did them all across Australia. Anytime any one of them asked me, I was there. And this was way before. This was in the 94, 95, 96. Way before we had, great internet and all that. My laptop, in fact, my shoulder still hurts when I think about it, weighed like, 10,000 pounds. So it was not an easy time, and it wasn't easy to be away from home. But it was a great joy for me, because to be able to be the voice for my company and help other people was just like huge for me. No, I'm not Mother Teresa. But I do know, and many times I think about Lady Diana when she had her, I love her. When she was in that landmine, you've seen that scene where she's walking through with just you know what I'm talking about? And I've been there and done that in businesses. I've seen that. I've felt that. I know that feeling. But you know what? Everything we have here in Galen, everything you go through, anything you encounter, it's all worth it. It's worth it because we have products that are phenomenal. These are life-changing, health-altering, in such a great way products that all you can do is hang on, hold on to it tight, enjoy the ride, and keep your attitude positive as you can. If you have a challenge that's really affecting you locally, and we all do, then reach up and reach out to those lights, to the Janas, to the Jackies, to the Nannettes, to the Debbies, to the Brians, to the Bevs, to all of us, because that's really why we should be here. I really believe that when you start putting people, all people, every person first, that's where the greatness lies. That's where our strength lies. Brian knows I called him earlier today about an order, and it has nothing to do with me. It has to do with a valued person in his organization who I've never met. But you know what? We have to be there, guys. We have to be there. If we're not there yet, we need to work towards getting there. Embrace the challenge. See the goodness in where you need to be. Like, be tough. Be that warrior, not to be fighting like that, but to be staunch in knowing that what we have is something of greatness. It truly is. It truly is.
Nannette, can I say this to you in regards to being a warrior? Like, you're a warrior of passion. You're a warrior of inspiration. You are a warrior of self-motivation. And I have no doubt as to why this woman felt a little bit inadequate of you stepping up and being asked to do that, because there are some people that do shine and have skills in certain areas that that's just their gift that they have been given. And yes, we do have to work on some areas of our own personal growth to make it that we are better and we excel in those areas. But yeah, it's so gracious to be able to help people on the sideline. And this is what I've really loved to be in Vegas when we were in Vegas. Was just such an honor that I think Jana mentioned it when we were there. We would never see this again. And I have no doubt about that. But what was forged on those 3 days was this, that you had such a passion for one another and such a belief in where you were heading into the future with this phenomenal company with Dr. Rajan taking us forward, that you don't mind helping people from the sideline. It's not about the fact that you're going to be getting, as you said, it's people before paychecks. Money is wonderful, but it doesn't buy you that feel good feeling within your body to know that you're doing things for the right reasons. And this is what I get from you, like helping people cross line. Why shouldn't we do it? But sadly, it is out there that people are greedy, and I think that comes back to you again, is your belief system, your upbringing. You are a very selfless woman, but you have got so much passion that you just want to give to so many. So I want to ask you a question so we can open this up, because we're heading into where we've got about 15 minutes for this, is to, just your belief in regards to Galen and where you can see this heading into the future. Because I know we've read your story, unless you've got something extra that you have had that's happened with your testimonial. And if you haven't already read it, anybody, it is on the main webpage, and I'm sure Nannette will share it as well. But just where do you see Galen heading globally into the future, in your opinion? Like, where do you think we're heading? And how do you think that you're going to take your team forward into that space?
Whoa, there's a loaded question. Well, I believe, I know that anything worth having is worth working for. I always wonder and care and am concerned about people who say, oh, they're quitting. Well, lots of times they never got started. So your work ethic and your example, I would say for Galen, certainly one of their strengths. You know how your strengths always your strength and your weakness, they're usually the same. Don't be challenged by people that are red, because if they're red in your back office, you know what, they can actually reactivate their auto ship. So I would say to you to take that as a challenge to yourself, to be the best example that you can be moving forward, making sure you let them know how we're doing, what we're doing, and why we're doing what we're doing, and anything that needs to be, again, communicated to them that might make them take and choose the right action. Does that mean we make decisions for them? Absolutely not. Nope, this is personal, but I will tell you something. Even in my corporate life, and I've spent many years with successful industry experience, I will say that one of my greatest accomplishments in corporate world was getting Costco as an account, and it took me 3 long years to get Costco as an account. And I really do liken, and by the way, it was growing at 180% per month when my company was taken over in a Chapter 11 hostile takeover in court. But was that worth it? Absolutely. Every experience we have, everything we do, and look, we're not even really a year and a half old yet. And I liken that to Costco, and I think, you know what? That was bar none one of the best experiences in corporate arena. It was the best. And my other best was in Jewelway when I worked with Jana. And the best part of that too was not, for me, it wasn't about building my team. There were a lot of diamond executives that made bigger money than I did. But you know what? I was earning between $3,000 and $5,000 Canadian a week. That was a lot better than chump change in my book. Like, very comfortable. We were very comfortable in our home at that time. That was very good money. And I remain today humbled and grateful for that experience. Would I like to experience that again? Absolutely, because I now have a grandbaby and expect to have, hopefully, please God, a few more. But more importantly, I want to see everyone else whose life that I touch or help in any way, shape, or form does the same. I want them to do the same. I want that more, and maybe that's just how I am. I want that more for everyone else than I want it for myself. And I mean that. I really mean that right to my core. Yeah, I'm so proud to be a Canadian because I have found since I've lived here, I've met a lot of very shallow, very self-centered Americans. Sorry, but I have. I really have. And I am one. Not shallow, but I'm an American. So, but I will tell you the strength and the goodness of the Canadian people. And I thank God for my two adopted Canadian babies who are also American. Yeah, you know what? Canadians have a resilience, same kind of resilience I located and identified in Australia. Canadians have a resilience that is unseen in other places. That's why we're loved when we travel to Europe and different countries, because we are who we are and we are how we are. So I would say to you, embrace that. Be who you are, but remember how you are when you're interacting and speaking to other individuals. And that doesn't matter. We're all people, whether it's Dr. Rajan or it's the little boy down the street that's 5 years old. Embrace that moment, and you don't know where that's going to lead. You really don't. Your strength lies within inside of every one of us. And my goodness, most of the people that know me know that I will, if you ever need my help, the sideline people that are on here today with us that know that, you can reach out to me at any time. That's something that Jana and I worked at together and with others a very long time ago. And I have to tell you that one of my greatest strengths, and I guess you won't find this surprising, but I would rather speak in front of a group of 2,000 than a group of 12 or 20. It's just my strength. That a lot of that comes from my singing at church in front of 1,000 people every Sunday from the time I was a little girl, as well as my entertainment, right? Like doing that. But that's because I really and truly do care. I really do. I don't say that lately. I seriously do. That's one of my, I don't know if that's a strength, but I do care. I care a lot about people, and I always will. God help me till the day I go from here. When I go hopefully somewhere else, hopefully, I hope that he'll either see me, either he will or she will or St. Paul will or somebody will, and they'll say, what the heck were you doing down there? Were you nuts? Because that's, even my children have told me at times, and yet that's the part they love most about their mom, is that I will work harder than hard. Harder.
Do you know, Nannette, I haven't read something out here, and I had it written on the post that was there, and I want to share it here before I ask if anyone's got any questions. That some of your the levels of you that you possess, that you're an extremely accomplished, skilled, and passionate person, very self-motivated. You've got many layers to your success, and I've just learnt so much more about those layers. I knew there was a lot in there. But this shines through very clearly, and now I'm understanding why I've had this feeling that was the case, that there was so much more to you than what I even realized. The charisma that comes out of you, that you have this ability to be able to speak to people and lead people in such a compassionate and kind way that they want to be a part of your space and a part of your world. And you impress people without you even being aware that you're doing that. You don't go out to impress people. You are just doing that because that's your personality that comes through first. That after having experience being in the space with you, people walk away and feel impressed by you, not by how you look, not by what you've given them, but because of how you've made them feel. You know, like it's how you've left them feeling. And that happens every single time that I get onto one of these calls and I listen to you. And I, as I said, I am a really huge, big fan of yourself. And I can see why you and Jana are like Thelma and Louise, as I put in the notes, that you, you've been on this great journey together. So I'm very humbled that you've been on here. But I'd like to ask if anyone's got any questions that they would like to ask of you.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, happy. Anything.
So unmute yourself if anyone's got any questions, please.
There's no bad questions, so you can ask whatever you like.
I don't have a question, but I want to thank you.
You're welcome.
I love the heartfelt way that you approach things, and I appreciate what you've shared with us this morning. Thank you, Nannette.
It's my pleasure. You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
Yeah.
Nannette.
Yes, Brian.
Thank you. You're great. You mentioned the people that have turned red and are downline, they can't just automatically go on and put an auto ship back in again?
Yeah, they could. They can go turn it on. Yep.
Oh, that's all they have to. Oh, I misheard what you said. No problem then. Yeah, I've got a guy that's coming back in here probably in the next week.
You know how huge that is? Most companies don't offer that. We have a number of things in iGalen, not to mention our compensation plan, which is bar none when it comes to the binary. You could probably tell that I could talk forever on all of these topics, but that's something of greatness that we need to make sure we uphold all the time. As Jana does her great training on the beach money, it's extremely important that we make sure people know the greatness of our compensation plan for sure. And be resilient in that. Don't let go of it. Make sure that we repeat it. And regularly has to be part of it. I would also tell you, however you're doing your presentation, I don't know, would you like to know what I do? Because basically if I do a presentation with someone, I did exactly what my coach, Jana, told me to do when we first connected. I really, for me, it was the credibility of our doctors, and I sincerely mean that. If you're not tapping into those men, do it. Because again, I use Dr. Rajan's videos. The ones that Jana sent me when I first got the light. And I also use Dr. Joe's #3 video as well. It's exceptional. So I would give a very brief testimonial of my own, and then I would show Dr. Rajan's, and then I would talk a little bit about our great products, and then I would show Dr. Joe's. This is what I do. Show Dr. Joe's, and then I would talk a tiny bit, not a lot. I don't get into detail about the compensation plan. Yeah, and then I would ask for a few testimonials. I think one thing for sure, again, inspiration or action, right? You want to whet their appetite. You want them to be able to come back and ask questions, but you also want to be very considerate of people's time. Presentations should never be more than 20 to 30 minutes. 30 minutes after that, you've literally, and that's just fact, lost them. They're done. They're done. If you're still listening to me after all this time, then that's probably just because I'm a has-been entertainer. But yeah, it's fact. In a presentation mode for new people, you have their attention for 30 minutes tops, and then it's information overload. Like it really is. And I would train that, Jana will tell you, every country I went. Like, do not regurgitate and give them information overload or try to say too much. That's why it's better to have one of our brochures or something on you and send them the videos in email. Like that's what she did. She texted me the videos. She didn't, she didn't just bleh all of this all over me. She actually did the right thing. And when my older sister, who was a graphic artist, we're all kind of artsy fartsy in my family. Before she died, on her deathbed, I was the last person she spoke to, and she said to me, "Whatever you do, keep doing the right thing." And those words burn in me. Those words burn in me, and it burns in me for all of you. It burns in me in particular for my friend Jana, because there's not anything I wouldn't do for her if she asked me. And that's fact. That's just where I live. So I would say to all of you, when it comes to your business, you need to embrace it with that rightness, with that holistic attitude. Because for me, in my wildest dreams, I never ever thought that my sister, who's a pharmaceutical rep for the last 30 years, and my nephew, who's an osteopath, who's doing stem cell extractions and insertions and healing athletes all over North America now, would have embraced what we're doing. They love Climax. Like, they love it. They love it. They are both, in fact, I was just home for a family wedding, and my little niece, who just turned 3 years old, I didn't witness this, but my daughter and her husband did. She ran right to her daddy first thing in the morning. She says, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy, I need my blue drink."
Nannette,
Yes,
this is
ma'am.
so amazing, but it doesn't surprise me in the least. But I want you to know something very special that just happened. I was so overwhelmed with, it was such a great call. And, you know, Jackie, Debbie, Lee, you're just amazing people, and you have such commitment, and so you're so professional, and you've brought this platform to us. But I was just texting Dr. Rajan, because he's now in on U.S. soil, and I just was telling him about the call, and I said, "You would be so proud of this call." And he just said, "Yes, Nannette is an angel without wings."
Oh.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
And I said to him, "You are the most selfless person I know." And he just wrote back and said, "Indeed."
Isn't he beautiful? That just comes from the man from the top. It makes me all choked up.
I know, who has this? Who
Yeah.
has this opportunity?
And it comes from the top. It does.
It does. And you know, really, it was his video. I've never had an opportunity to really say that to him directly, but it really and truly was Dr. Rajan's video, because I felt in that video, and I had not really talked to Jana about any of this. I knew, I always go by my gut, and I knew when I heard him, I knew that he meant what he said. I knew that. I knew that he cared. And when you come from that place and space, and you really do have conviction and fortitude, and you know you're rock solid, and you have your belief system right where it needs to be, well, it didn't at all surprise me when Jana shared her San Diego story, because she knew when she met Dr. Rajan. She knew the minute she met him. And that's when I had my little aha, yep, that's the right thing. And that's what I would say to you about Galen. It is the right thing. And I'm very humbled, Jana, by him saying that about me, because as much as I love to talk, I do love to listen. And more than listening, I love my fellow team. And for me, my team is all of us. It will always be all of us. That was my strength as a corporate trainer for my companies. That was my strength, because every person matters, and every person, whether they're in your organization or they're sideline. That's why I always said that. Every place I went, my sideline people are more precious than gold, and I live by that. I will always live by that. And that's when, to me, for me, and for all of you, that's when you're the greater good, and that's when you make a difference. And when you can make a difference, for all the other people, that's gratifying. That's gratitude. And being grateful, I'm very grateful for all of you. I cannot say how grateful I am for Jana.
Nannette, can I say this to you that so everybody that does listen to this call, as they listen to it in their own time, in their own space, or we even revisit and re-listen to it ourselves, I'm a big believer that things happen for a reason. And there have been some big paradigm shifts on an emotional level for many of us over the last 2-3 months, because we've been confronted with some challenges that we may not necessarily have liked. But the thing that's carried us through is the power of the team and the power of the selflessness that this team comes forward with globally. And, you know, if I can say anything to people as they listen to this call in their own space and their own time, don't be frightened to encourage others to plug in to whatever resources are there, because what I get out of coming onto these calls and onto Jana's calls on Tuesday, on our own individual calls we have ourselves, and to these calls, is just an injection of the belief that I already have, but it's the support, and it's the genuine selfless support, the level of mindfulness, the level of empathy, and the level of gratitude that just shines through from everybody that's involved with this phenomenal company that we have. And that power of getting plugged in to being able to find and revisit your why as to why you initially started with this company. I hope that as people do listen to this call at some point in time, that they get so much power out of what you've just given to us, Nannette, because it really is a phenomenal gift that you've given us today. Because we all need somebody to give us that injection of enthusiasm, belief, integrity, honesty, dignity in who we are, and we need to be reminded of it. And I honestly believe you have just done that for all of us today, because that's who you are, because it just shines through from you. There's a light behind you, and there is a light all around you, looking at you in that space right there where you sit right now, and I'm not surprised by it one bit at all. And we are heading into well and truly over, and I just want to thank everybody. Unless Debbie would like to finish off, I just want to thank you personally, Nannette. I really do appreciate that, and I thank everybody for being here, and for those that do take the time to listen to the calls afterwards. Next week we do have Dr. Ron and Dr. Ken that are coming on to the call, so make sure you're involved with that. And we need testimonials. They are really the backbone of being able to provide to the globe, globally, what these two amazing products are doing for people, what life-changing results they're providing. So if you've got people in your team that have got testimonials, not everybody wants to get on and share them face-to-face, but we're happy to read them, because the power behind those testimonials is invaluable. So we do need some for the last week of this month. So Debbie, would you like to say anything to finish the call up?
I would. Thank you, Jackie. Nannette, I think one of the most important stories you told tonight was the one about the lady who you excitedly, expected and wanted to give you a hand with something, and how that went. And it just, it's something that when you help everybody in the company, no matter who they're with, you're helping the company. And that's what this is all about. We're not just here to make our own little business. We're here to spread this. And I've helped a lot of people who I don't know, who are in other lines. And it really does mean something when, a lot of companies will say, we're a family, but we really are an Galen family. And I just want to thank you so much for making that such an important part of your call, because that's one of the main things that sets us apart. So thank you so much. It was a wonderful call.
Oh, you're so welcome. And you know what? The world really is quite small. It's growing smaller all the time. So that means we get to be tighter and closer to each other. So the last thing I'll say to all of you is that embrace any challenges. Take that on to win, but not win for yourself. Do it for the team, right? Like, make it team, make it group, make it everybody. Anyone that's in Galen, they're part of your team. And Jana says frequently, the minute you stop holding back, all kinds of things will come to your aid. Like, that's just the way it is. We're blessed to have each other. And if you go out and make a difference and be that light for many other people, it will only come back to you in spades, tenfold. That's my experience.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for having me. You're welcome.
Nannette,
Yes.
like when we talked earlier today, I said something, what I thought of you. You just backed it up 1,000% this evening, Kim.
Oh, you're silly. You're silly. You're special. Okay, father.
Okay.
Hello, Mother.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay,
Very
team, awesome. I do want to just say we need to wrap it up. So just thank you again, Nannette, from the bottom of all of our hearts. We are very gifted and grateful and honoured to have you on here. And I, Galen's very lucky to have you as part of our family. We really are. So good night to you all. Good afternoon, good morning, and I hope you enjoy whatever you do for the rest of your day. And we look forward to seeing you through the week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Okay,
everybody.
bye.
Bye.
Bye, all. See you all.